And Lubbock Power and Light will have to see action in the state legislature before transition to the retail electric market.
We're looking into the steps lawmakers must make in Austin to provide Lubbock's power to choose. KCBD News Channel 11's Case Wilbanks joins us with this continuing coverage. Case?
Hey, Karen and Admiral, you may remember from a report last week, city leaders said that they would support Lubbock Power and Light in this effort in Austin to make these legislative adjustments. Now, according to LP&L, those were unanticipated changes to law that will ensure a smooth transition. Today, the Electric Utility Board met, which included an update on how this transition is going. I'm told LP&L is preparing a legislative package that will make the necessary changes that aren't described as major reforms, but rather tweaks. For example, LP&L will seek changes to law, allowing it to provide consumer information to ERCOT and other electric providers that would normally fall within consumer confidentiality requirements for a municipally owned utility.
When session begins, we'll work closely with our delegation and make sure that all of the legislation that we need to get passed gets passed in due course and due time so that we stay on schedule. We'll also be making sure that globally any legislation that gets passed during the session does not adversely impact what we're looking to do here in Lubbock.
Lubbock will be the first municipally owned utility to voluntarily make the switch in Texas, and LP&L hopes that lawmakers will understand this unique move. LP&L is confident that will happen. There's also confidence in the reliability of the ERCOT grid this winter. We'll hear why, though, LP&L would like to see more action on that legislative front as well tonight at 10. Karen?
Thank you, Case.